We're in Simon Kufra Beis, Siv Tes. He's talking now about the period of the 9 days, things that you can't do in the 9 days. He says as follows: V'chein ein mechapsim b'tisha yamim elu. These 9 days you can't do laundry. Afilu chaluk, even a shirt, a baggage she'ein dereitzel lavshe ad acha atainis, that he doesn't plan to use it during the 9 days. Afilu l'sitan l'kay veses akum is also also. To give it to a guy to clean for you is also. The Yisraelis muteres lechabes big day akum. The whole problem that the cleaners have over here. Some of them are closed during the 9 days. Mikol makom b'shavua shechal b'Tisha B'Av is yesh lo lizor that she shouldn't wander for the goyim. V'chein also b'Tisha Me'ilu Lubeish Eilatzia Afil HaMechulbosim Mikaidim, that you can't wear clothing that was freshly cleaned or freshly pressed. And that's why, and then he says, Ulahachlif mitpochas hayadayim umagovos. Did I skip something? Oh no, I'm sorry, I skipped the one. Rak covered Shabbos, mutter lugberg big de pishtan. Now, what we do is that before Rosh Chodesh, we change. You put on like a shirt, and you change over the shirt, and another half hour you change over another one, and this way it's not already considered freshly pressed. And then he says, "Ulatzi al shechonos luvonim," to put out the white tablecloths. Ulahakef mitpachas hayadayim umagovos kedera she'osim b'shar shabbosas. In many shuls, they used to have like towels. There was on a roller, and they made like a few towels together, 2 towels that said kept rolling like a roll. So for Shabbos, they normally would change it to put up a fresh one. He said that to change the tablecloth, means what we call handkerchiefs. Today it's not so popular already, handkerchief. Today people either use tissues or what. That means white sheets, you're not allowed to put on fresh white sheets. A woman that needs it for her halachas, muteres v'chabes, so she's allowed it. V'chein hamitpachas shemalapah from behemat tinakas, that means diapers, is shemalachach and oisle todeh, is muter l'chapson. Today that doesn't apply, because today everybody's using the Pampers, the different things that they buy in the drugstores. But Amol it was a big business. When you had a baby, there was a company that they gave you a container and for free, and as long as you take from them the diapers every 2 times a week or whatever it was. The shaila is that what I saw brought down the Sfarim. What happens if you're traveling during the 9 days? Let's say traveling for business, and you're staying in a motel. Now the motel, they have a room service. Everybody goes around there every day. So what about staying in the motel? So they want to make enough kamina that when you're coming into the motel, you're checking in, so then there's fresh linen there. you can't want that there should be the old linen, because the old linen, you don't know who slept on it. So that's not a problem. The problem is, what happens if you're staying 2 or 3 nights? So they say that you should make a note, like they have, not to change the linen during the 2 days that you're staying here or 3 days that you're staying here. So this way you don't have it. Otherwise there'd be a question about putting out freshly cleaned linen. Ein oisen b'tishi yom elu begodim chadashim. This is talking about, when he says oisen, he means like sewing up, like a tailor, like if you go oyman ogim chadashim, or even shoes. Now, the chiddush of shoes is, why is the chiddush of shoes? So you can't make a new shoes is an important malbush, but in Sfarim Sheit and Halacha, that even those that make a shechuyonu on a new beged don't make a shechuyonu on shoes. Why don't they make a shechuyonu on shoes? So the Tam Sheit, because the shoes is the leather that comes from an animal. So Mel is verbunden with Tzar B'chaim. So therefore they don't make a shechuyonu on the shoes. Oileger on Polius. So he says on Polius in Yiddish, touched it up, Zocken. Strumpf, I don't know what Strumpf is, but I know what Zocken is. Zocken is socks. Vafilu ayidei aken, you also know how to make it. But what's right of Godol, Kigoin, when is Suyin, Shayiya, Amiyad Achatishabah, is Mutter ayidei akum, Avaloi ayidei Yisrael. The Kaidem Reish Chaydesh, not in the 9 days, maybe before the 9 days, is Mutter B'chol Inyan, L'siten Afilu Umu Yisrael, U'mutter Leila Soisam Afilu Achakach. Because it's Chassan could be right after Tisha B'Av, and you're going to need them, so it's an exception to the rule. Now he says in Yedalef, he says, Noshim shenoigos shaloilu sada hachutim v'ariga mishum dezen nikra shesi. That means that in order to make material, you need thread. And in English it's called a loom. The loom consists of 2 parts. There's one part that goes threads this way, and there's one part that goes threads this way. And there's a ball with a thread that goes through in the middle, they cross over each other. So that's really called Shesi V'Erev. Shesi V'Erev, the Havdo is by the Goyim, they have a Shesi V'Erev, what they wear, they kiss it. So by the Chum Beis HaMikdash, there was an Evan Shasiya under the Kodesh HaKadoshim. So he says, V'kiven shebe botro Evan HaShasiya sh'hayi b'Beis HaMikdash, yichmiru aleim b'zeh is also lahata lahem. Being that the woman, as we have a shaila, it could be mata neder. But a thing that was made al rabim, you can only be mata neder, a personal neder. But if it was made al rabim, then it's efshar. Like we say in the Shimon or Rabbi side, that efshar, that is the daughter she efshar frotum. I'm not asking you to be mata that. What do you mean efshar frotum? If it was made adas hatzibur, then you can't be. So this was made adas hatzibur. So the women have this practice. Ein roichsim b'tes yom elu afilu b'tzoynim. Ach l'refuah kegoyin yoledes, a woman that gave birth, or miobedes shekreiva loledes shetayva lichas it's good for a condition to bathe. V'chein odem cholish shetziva oisam haroifa lichos. All these type of people, mutarim lichos afilu b'chama. V'chein nida rechetzes v'toivelas kedaka. V'im toivelas b'layla shalaka Tisha B'Av. If a mikveh is the night after Tisha B'Av, v'yefshel lichos, or because it's late already, and they spend like an hour in the preparation. Oz yechol lichos be'erev Tisha B'Av. Okay, that not everyone is makel this, but that's what it says over here. V'chein kishleveshes uvadim, when she's going from a hefsek tara and she's starting to wear white, is yechol lichos ma'at kedaka. It's not doing for pleasure. It's for the Indian that the Indian the matzah that she requires it. Bechal is reason why people in the country and or people the Tisha B'Av, the 9 days is a period when it gets very hot, and people in America. Maybe in Europe or in other countries, years ago it wasn't so popular, but in America, there people take a shower every day. So they want to say that it could be makel, and the makel is based on the din of an istinus. Istinus means that you're a type of a person that you can't stand any dirt, any sweat, it bothers you right away. So that's a type of a special type of person, is that they rely on that heta of istinus. Chodesh Av shechal be'erev Shabbos. I think that's this year. I think this year Chodesh Av will be erev Shabbos. Right? When was Tamuz was Wednesday and Thursday was the Chodesh. So next month will be erev Shabbos. So Mishrago lichas b'cham b'chol erev Shabbos, muta gamachas lichas afilu b'cham. Avo be'erev Shabbos chazon. Demos is also lichas b'chamim afilu Mishrago b'kach. Ki'im ponav yoda v'ragav. I saw a lot of people in the mikveh that are not exactly nizar in this the dafka.
We're making this.
Huh?
We're making this.
As I said, I saw a lot of people that are not machmin this. V'chein misha rogel b'chafifus hareish kol erev Shabbos, to wash his head with soap and some mutra gam ato ach b'buris. He said, but it shouldn't be with soap. V'loi b'mei offer. I don't know what that is. It's some type of a shampoo that they had. Some it was. They mixed water with some type with earth, and they used it as a way to clean. Misha rogel little kol erev Shabbos is mutaloi gam ata little v'tzaynu. Ava misha mevatla lepamim is asaloi. Now the interesting thing is the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch only talks about erev Shabbos. What about Shabbos? Tara says the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, it could be. The Kitzur didn't hold from going to mikvah Shabbos. So against the Shaila with the hot mikvahs that they had on Shabbos, in Reb Chaim Noah, in his Sefer Tzeis HaShulchan, he has a whole arichas where he's matter to go to the mikvah, but there were a lot that didn't go. So that's why he only talks about Friday, and he doesn't talk about Shabbos. Okay, now I said, Ovel shechal yom ramet shaloi biyudches betmuz, oy achakach, ad erev Rish Chodesh mutaloi v'yistaper. Now he's talking about an oval. Now we know by aveilus there's two type of avelim. There's an oval for relatives, brothers, sisters, and that the Avelis is only 30 days. After 30 days is after the Avelis. Then there's a Avelis Chatz Hashem for Av V'Eim, so that is Yud Beis Chodesh. The one that he's talking about over here, because he's talking that it came on Yom Shloshim, and he wants to take a haircut, so he has to, could he take a haircut? Because we just said now that you don't take haircuts during this period. So he says that Oval Shechal Lamed Shaloi B'Yud Ches B'Tamuz, the day right after Shabbos B'Tamuz, Oy Achakach Ad Erev Chodesh Av, is mutar stopper. He's allowed to then take a haircut, even though normally you don't take haircuts during the 3 weeks. Avo mirish chodesh ve'elach, when it comes to 9 days, igam b'kahai gavna, also b'kibus u'b'taspaitis. That is not allowed by derech agavin. I mentioned halacha. By a novel after a parent, so he has the din of a very good Beis Chodesh, but a haircut is 3 to 4 months. The shaila is that only the first haircut or every haircut? That's some just do the first haircut, but there's opinions that say, and Shulchan Aruch brings it, that every few months you should wait, and the Indian was shteipa havelis at sheyigru b'chavera, but people scream, your hair is long. That helps by another oval, but not by an oval from Abba V'imay.
By Abba V'imay helps the sheyigru b'chavera.
Not if it's less than 3-4 months. Mila shehi b'tes yom elo. If there's a bris during the 9 days, noigin, so the minig is she ha-moyel v'asandik v'avia ben v'imay, the mother of the child, leivshim bigdei Shabbos. Avo ha-machmas es ha-tinik, and he says, he touches up in Yiddish, gefota. What does gefota mean? Gefota means, it comes from an English word. The English word is godfather. So gefota is like a shortening of godfather. But the Rebbe didn't like this idea to call the one that brings in the baby godfather. It doesn't sound like a Yiddish minig. So the Rebbe says that the word is kratir, not gefoter, but kratir. What does kratir mean? It's called the woman and the husband. The one is called kratir. So the Rebbe says that the word comes from, in Hebrew, kavod tir. In other words, the woman has the kavod of bringing it to the door, and the man has the kavod of taking it from the door to the place where the bris will be. So that's where comes the word kvatir, kavod tir. So he says, Acha isha hamachnesses es atinig. Noiges lilbash bigdei Shabbos, kivin shezeh kol mitzvosem. That means the woman, like we said, the kvaterin is the kvater and the kvaterin. The woman that's bringing the child from the women's section to the door to give him over to the other person. So this is her the part of Jesus. And over here he brings out in the Mezgeres, he brings that what does it mean? What does it mean? Shazel kol mitzvasa. So he said that Shazel Kamas also means she'ein lo mitzvah acheres b'mila rak zu levad. כבר כסב, יש להטה להם קודם שבס חזוין, אבל אחר כך is also.
גילוח.
Yeah, that can go on everybody. All these people that they said is only before Shabbos Chazayin. After Shabbos Chazayin, they also.
What's das Gilוח?
V'giluach. Oh, v'giluach. Giluach means. I don't know if giluach. I don't think giluach means haircut. Giluach means shaving. The Yekish people, the Shlomo Gansfried, the Mechaber of the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, was lived in Germany. So the Yekish people, they shave every Friday. The way they shave is they don't use a machine. They used to use a powder. They had a powder that they put on the face, and the powder burns the hair, and if you left it too long, you could get burned, you know. So he's saying that v'guach yesh lahat lehem kaiden Shabbos Chazayin. That even though he said that cover the bris they could put on new begadim, but shaving that you can't, only up to Shabbos Chazayin. Then it says Kasabnu b'sif tes ki b'Shabbos Chazayin leivshem bigdei lovim bigdei pishtim lovim. The Hainu, that means Hakasainas upuz makois she'einem elam b'nei hazeyo. The Kasainas is an undershirt. Chalaik is an overshirt. Avu Shab Bigdei Shabbos is totally b'minig hamakaimis im la'achlifan alei la'achlifan. It says these things you're allowed to. Bigdei Zayah is called undergarments. That's called Bigdei Zayah. So that's the difference between the undershirt and the overshirt. That the undershirt you're allowed to, but we're makel that even besides what you put on the clothing before the 9 days, that it shouldn't be considered freshly laundered. So for Shabbos you could also change. Noigin b'Shabbos chazon likos lemafter es harav shu yedei lekainim. V'yalo oz l'shlishi, even though shlishi, a mother used to give shlishi to the Rav, so he says that this Shabbos you should give him after. They tell a story that in Ashdod there was a shul over there, and the Gabbai once came over to the person that everyone respected as the Rav, and he says, you know, I have a problem with you. He says, what's the problem? He says, I don't know if you're a Rav or a Rebbe. He says, why nafkamina? He said, well, if you're a Rav, I got to give you shlishi. And if you're a Rebbe, I got to give you mafta. So what are you? The Yid never been an Araman. So he says to the Gabbai, ihr weißt, ich bin moichel de shlishi, ich bin moichel de mafta, aber gib mir ein Sofer.